Goeiedag, hoe gaan dit? My name is Wildkard. Thank you for watching the Wildkard Rugby Show. Like, comment, and subscribe. And yes, it is my pleasure and privilege to talk about the greatest game in the world. And yes, the biggest and greatest test match in the history of rugby is coming up in 2 weeks' time. And it will be the reigning, defending, the undisputed #1 ranked team in the world versus the Springboks. And yes, my early prediction is going to be a win for the Wallabies, obviously. And the scoreboard is going to be 44 points to 12 to the Wallabies. I know. Stop laughing. Stop laughing. Okay, it's not funny. It's not a joke. I will not negotiate anything less than 44 points to 12 win for the Wallabies, okay? It will be considered a loss in my books if it's anything less than that, okay? So, with that being said, the Wallabies almost lost to Georgia today, but hey, we're building towards the future. That's the most important part. And the Springboks, had a pretty good performance as well. 64 points to 21 over Portugal. Portugal is a slightly lower ranked team than Georgia, but hey, who am I to argue about that, right? That's, not allowed in 2020, 2024. You're not allowed to bash in 2-2 Nation for the rankings. So we're going to ignore that. But hey, let's talk about this game. Let's talk about what happened to the Springboks. So a little bit concerning for the number of cards that was issued out to the Springboks team tonight. So the first and foremost one is the Andre Esterhuizen had a red card about 2 minutes into the game. He was allegedly made a head contact to a Portugal player in this tackle you see here. Initially, I thought there was no head contact. I thought the yellow card was probably even a bit too much. Then after the review, it did look like in very slow motion there was perhaps a bit of a contact to the head. Yeah, the Portugal player was knocked out cold. It could either be because of the head contact, or it could be the fact that he did smack his head on the ground from the tackle. So he looked pretty bad, regardless of how you slice it. But yeah, there was I think it was a bit of a difficult decision. But there's definitely no separation here between the two heads. Whether or not there was a huge impact or not when this happened, it's hard to say. But the player was knocked out after the completion of this tackle. So yeah, pretty tough decision there for him. And another one is this one, probably the most controversial one or most dangerous one of the night. Curdy Atlinsa did a crocodile roll and very dangerous, hooked the leg, went for the roll. So the saving grace for Curdy Atlinsa, see how he landed on the foot? He did not land directly on the leg. If he had actually landed directly on the leg, that would have been a red card. Yes, but he landed on the foot, so it's just an illegal croc roll. He did not land his weight on the leg. But that was another one that could have been a red, very close. Again, the technique is outlawed in July, so maybe some of the players are not completely, used to the change yet, because this has been so many years that everybody's been taught to use the croc roll to roll somebody off a jackal. And suddenly to say that's not allowed anymore, especially for a smaller guy, you're not really going to be able to belt yourself through with that advantage of with a body weight advantage. So it's going to be a bit of a transition for a lot of these younger guys to get rid of this technique. But yeah, a yellow card there as well. And finally, the white guy with the Asian name, Kwang Ho, was sent off with, again, just kind of like mistimed his challenge on the high ball, taking out a player in the air. He made a debut tonight and got a try as well, so really well done. And also got sent off with the yellow card. Kind of like Curdy Atlinsa as well. He was red carded for taking out Beauden Barrett. And, that is a hallmark of a great start to a Springbok career, is to get yourself sent off in the opening match on your debut. But hey, it is what it is. The Springbok play with 14 players, and in fact 13 players for a lot of the match, and still was able to walk out quite comfortably, 64 points to 21. And a lot of physicality from the Springboks game. The Springboks, I thought one of the biggest issues coming out of the Irish match was the lack of depth in their attack, and it was just really just one-dimensional crash ball and trying to immediately get over the advantage line with flat ball. Tonight, we saw a little bit more dynamic, in a lot of depth play, especially when Sacha came onto the field. There was a lot more depth in their attack and a bit more of that, backdoor play to just like shuffle up the defense a little bit from the rush defense and just kind of like go over the top and just holding up the defense with that bit of a delayed pass with the backdoor play. So really, really interesting to see that the Springboks putting that out of the playbook. Is it better than the All Blacks execution from what I saw tonight against the Fijians? Probably not quite there. Like, the speed is probably not quite to that level, but it is something that is a bit different from what I saw, the one-dimensional, attack from what I saw the week before. So it's definitely a small improvement, definitely a bit more variety from that. There was a lot less kicking game from this game, whether it's because it's against Portugal or whether it's the Springboks want to try different style. It is definitely a lot more controlled in the kicking game, a lot more running and attacking game tonight from the entire Springboks setup. So yeah, the Springbok scrum was very dominant. The line-out more as well. Line-out and line-out more was dominant. Portugal was able to get a few tries just to like really, when they were executing, they were actually executing really well. They were actually leading the game 7-0 early, and I thought, oh my goodness, what am I watching? There was a red card, and suddenly Portugal has scored the first try, and then Man in the Box is missing all of his kicks. So yeah, it was a little bit rough at the beginning, and I think it was looking like it wasn't sure what I was watching for a few minutes there. But yeah, it was really. I think the biggest walk away from this game is the fact that Sacha Fangberg Ngomezulu truly is the future of the Springboks. He was incredibly impressive. That goal kicking, 100% when he taking over the kicking duties from Man in the Box. Anywhere on the field, it didn't even look like he was any close to missing any of those kicks. And he has such a huge boot as well, just being able to punt that down the field. And he was able to kick a 50-22 from just outside of his own 22. It was basically a 22-22. It was a massive kick, torpedo, and he made it look so easy as well. So just a huge threat on the boot. And just the fact that he was able to do that really opened up a lot of options to the Springboks, a lot of more threats that they're able to deploy with the way that they wanted to play going into the future. So Sacha definitely a huge threat. He did miss one tackle leading to one of the Portugal try. So definitely not 100%, definitely not the perfect player. Yeah, still got little bits here and there, skill sets to improve. He overran the defensive line and just got stepped on the inside. And he was very frustrated, you can tell himself. But hey, it is very early in his career for the Springboks. Still got a long way to go. And just, small steps towards the right direction. And I think that for the entire coaching team, for Rassie Erasmus, the fact that he can kick goals so easily, and the fact that he was able to carry the ball, run the ball, so making the right decision on the field calmly and execute those offloads really clean the way that he did was probably the most important part for him, and really opened him up. He was at 10 position as well, so really opened up a lot of diversity as well. He can play a fullback and at a 10 with that big boot as well. So really impressive, and really interesting to see how Rassie Erasmus will develop a game plan potentially around him and his big kicking boot. So with that being said, that is pretty much all the important things that I want to go through for this game. So yes, let's have a look at the match stats of the game. 10 tries to 3 to the Springboks, 742 run meters to 366 to the Portugal. 15 turnovers conceded for the Springboks. And Portugal was actually really well in their defense, was actually able to absorb quite a bit of pressure. But eventually, I think the speed in the wide open field is just a bit too much for the Portugal to handle. The players just not used to the speed from the players that the South Africans were able to bring. Afaleta Fasi was really good as well in fullback, and opened up a lot of counter-attack opportunities for the team as well. 11 turnovers conceded to Portugal. Only had to make 59 tackles for the Springboks and 25 missed tackles. Definitely on the high end in terms of the overall tackle count that needs to be made. Portugal, 157 tackles, made 35 missed tackles. Considering how brutal it was, it's actually not too bad. 19 kicks in play. Both teams were pretty tame in terms of kicking game. I think that the Springboks probably had a bit more of a control over the kicking game. Like the Springboks was able to deploy the kicking game the way they wanted, whereas the Portugal was just kind of like, a little bit just throwing the dice and see what happens sort of thing. There was 3 missed kicks from Man in the Box, 100% for Sacha. 3 out of 3 for Portugal for all three of their tries. So really well done there. The rucks turnover was a little bit high in terms of percentage count against Portugal. 32 rucks lost 8 of their own rucks. 4 loss for the Springboks out of 88, so a little bit higher there. 2 lineouts loss for Portugal, 100% for the Springboks. 1 scrum loss for Portugal. The scrum was overwhelmingly dominant for the Springboks at times, but it was, it was actually not as bad as I was expecting, considering how good the All Black scrum was against the Fijians, and Fijians are pretty good scrum. So yeah, this is gonna be an area that I think that we might see a bit of a switch in role between the two teams, that the All Blacks might become more a set piece scrum style of rugby, whereas the Springboks might switch to more of an attacking style. We'll have to see that. So the scrum is definitely something that I think will be a very big contest between the Springboks and the All Blacks coming into the Rugby Championship there. Penalties conceded 10 against the Springboks. Like I said, 2 yellow cards and a red card. Definitely Rusty is not going to be happy about that. 9 penalties conceded for Portugal. Despite the tremendous amount of pressure they were under, they were able to hold their discipline for the most part. So that's really, really well done. A big credit for Portugal. They didn't concede like 20 penalties as a result of the relentless pressure that was inflicted upon them tonight from the Springboks. So yes, let's go through the recap for the game. My goodness, 10 tries. That is a lot. So let's just go straight in. 2 minutes, 25 seconds. Andrew Esterhuizen was sent over the red card, head on head. 10 minutes into the game. For the first 10 minutes, Portugal was dominating the Springboks, actually. They were just pounding the Springbok try line, running, literally, like, controlling the game, every aspect of the game. And eventually, 10 minutes into the game, Portugal ran 80 meters following a turnover. So Evan Ruiz popped the ball off the ground and was intercepted by the Portuguese player. And then it would just like run down the side, there was a little grab a kick behind, and then the Portugal player recovered. A nice little offload. Paiva went in for the first try for the Portugal. 7 points to nil. I was sitting here scratching my head thinking, what the hell is going on? It was looking pretty brutal. And Portugal definitely showed up to play. 13 minutes into the game, Springboks finally got themselves like controlled and got themselves into their rhythm. There was a line out for the Springboks. Jan Hendricks Vessel. There was a maul. The wall went down. Crash ball by the Springboks. Ahir Sneeman ran up to the defensive line. He turned around, popped the ball back to Jan Hendricks Vessel, who ran in for the first try for the Springboks. 5 points to 7, missed conversion. 17 minutes into the game, the Springboks had a penalty, the one for the maul. Again, just more on try. Pepsi Buthelezi went in for the try for the Springboks. 10 points to 7, the big man. And 24 minutes into the game, there was a kick down the field. Aflele Fasi decided to counter attack, and he ran up, saw the defenders in front of him. Really nice footwork. He drew in like 3 players around him and was able to grab a kick, the ball through. And Curdy Adams, the speedster, followed up. 17 points to 7. 22 minutes into the game, there was a what happened? Oh yeah, so the man in the block was able to actually open up the game from just outside the Springboks 22. He took in he basically ran against the defensive line, and then some good passes opened up the defense. The Springbok kind of just like start rumbling down the field, and then eventually got really close to the try line. Some nice and pick and goes, and eventually Ben Jackson Dixon picked over for the try for the Springboks. 22 points to 7. 34 minutes into the game, Croc Roll, Curly Adamsa sent off with a yellow card. 39 minutes into the game, there was a nice little double pump from man in the block, and he passed the ball to Lukam and Lukam again got the ball, just a bit of dummy, and went for himself. Try time, 29 points to 7 for the Springboks at halftime. 48 minutes in the game in the second half, there was a nice little backdoor play. This is what I was talking about. I haven't seen much of this from the Springboks against the Irish. Backdoor play against Sacha was on the field, a 10 jersey. He got the ball and just really nice hands out wide. Makazulu Mapimpi was center field. He still got one player out wide. He just like ran in a nice angle, went in for the try. 36 points to 7. Sacha just kicking the ball was just, really nice. Just really straight down the center of the goalpost. Looking just, he never looked like he was going to miss a single kick the entire night. In fact, he did not miss a single kick the entire night. 56 minutes of the game. Again, Sacha just like casually like ran the ball and then opened up the defense, right? He was just running around, looking around, bit of a dummy, went for himself. And then there was, again, defenders coming out to take him, and he just like calmly one-handed offload to Makazula Mapimpi down the sideline. Try time, 43 points to 7. 59 minutes into the game, there was a counter-attack from Portugal. De Santos, he ran down the sideline, and then he was one-on-one against, is it De Santos? Paiva? I thought his name was De Santos. What was his name? I thought it was anyway, that's I thought it was anyway. So yeah, so he ran down the sideline, stepped in field, and Sacha got beaten on the inside, and really nice try for him there. 43 points to 14. 69 minutes into the game, Kwang Hong was on the field. He was again, there was just some really nice play from the Springbok. There was a scrum. There was a the ball came out, just went straight to Kwang Hong. He had just like straightened up the running line, just cut straight through the defense. This was about 10 minutes out from the try line. Perfect debut for him. 50 points to 14. And then 67 minutes into the game, Sacha kicked a 50-22 from just outside his own 22-meter mark. Huge kick, a perfectly pinpoint accurate out, and it was really, really well done. I got a round of applause for him for that one. That was incredibly impressive. And following this kick, the Springboks on the line out, again, just rumbling through, pick and goes, and eventually Venter went in for the try. Hugo Venter, because the G was anyway. Venter went in for the try. 57 points to 14 for the Springboks. 74 minutes into the game, Kwang Hong was sent off with the yellow card. He'd taken out the Portuguese was taking a crossfield kick, and then he was just mistimed it, taking another play in the air. And then Portugal, following the penalty advantage, kicked the ball back out of the way. Another crossfield kick back the other way. And then just a nice little full work from the Portugal player. And eventually, it was a pick and go, really close to the try line. Madeira went in for the try, 57 points to 21. And finally, 80 minutes into the game, the Springboks just rumbling forward, getting closer to the try line from the Portuguese try line. And eventually, there was a quick short ball to Makazuna Mapimpi, just lined himself up against the forward near the try line and just rumbled himself through with a bit of footwork. Try time, 64 points to 21. Big win for the Springboks. A nice little warm-up match for the biggest match of the year that's coming up against the Wallabies. 64 points to 0. So let me know your thoughts, let me know your predictions. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'm really looking forward to the big match that's coming up. So let me know your thoughts, let me know your predictions, and I'll see you guys for the previews for that match and for the news coming up next week as well. Thanks for watching. See you guys. Cheers.